ICCC keeping close eye on Telecom Merge. Intending women candidates debates gun control bill. And media to play crucial role in polls.
This is National MTV News with Helen Sayer.
Good evening and thank you for joining me for Monday's news. The Independent Consumer and Competition Commission says it's keeping a close eye on the much talked about government merger of 3 state-owned telecommunication companies. ICCC Commissioner and Chief Executive Officer Paul Asine said Kumul Consolidated Holdings has assured them it will provide a submission on the merger within a month.
The head of ICCC, Paul Asine, says Kumul Consolidated Holdings will seek approval from them before the merger continues.
We have met with the Telecom chairman, Mahesh Patel, and he gave us an undertaking that they will make a submission to us as required under Section 69 of the ICCC Act. It took a little while, and we went over to Kumul Consolidated Holding, and we met again with the managing director, Mr. Thomas Abe, and he was kind enough to give us an undertaking that they will be making a submission, and we are very thankful.
And confirm the submission will cover all 3 telecommunication companies.
The process will be public, transparent, and it will be done within public process required under the ICCC Act. In the process that we have, and we should be able to give a final approval based on the submission.
He stressed all potential acquisitions and mergers made in the country need to go through the regulatory process to ensure they're beneficial and not anti-competitive. This merger of Telecom, B-Mobile and Datacom has brought much debate since the NEC decision last month to restructure the state-owned telecommunications sector.
Is to try and create a vertically integrated company that creates content and then that has the backbone and the infrastructure to drive that content through into mobile towers right down to the end user.
Meanwhile, the Communication Workers Union has disagreed with the decision. It staged a stop-work protest and presented a 9-page petition to the government calling for NEC to withdraw its decisions. One of the reasons include job security.
We cannot allow this merging because government is not giving us a guarantee whether those merging will absorb all these workers. That is nothing for us.
And also dismissed comments that the ICCC has been bypassed by the government. He said the ICCC is conducting their own investigation. Merlin Diaukatam, National MTV News.
Women candidates have used a practice session of Parliament to debate the need to reduce gun-related violence in the country. The Parliament session was hosted by the national government to give women candidates a feel of how a bill is passed in Parliament. The participants debated on how to implement the National Gun Control Bill of 2005.
Hopeful women candidates decided to tackle an issue that men have failed to address for over a decade now.
There's an ever-growing illegal arms trade in Papua New Guinea, and that's associated with lack of employment growth and low human security.
To give them a practice of how bills are passed, participants sought to implement the Small Arms Survey. Those recommendations were never implemented.
A report was prepared but was never tabled in Parliament, and nothing was done as a follow-up.
The women said gun-related violence remains the biggest issue the country is facing.
Is how to deal with the significantly large quantity of guns currently in the hands of both licensed and unlicensed owners in Papua New Guinea.
The practice is part of a week-long workshop women candidates have underwent.
Women in Papua New Guinea it's a sad thing, but it is the society that we come from. Otherwise, congratulations, women, you are just as can be compared to men in terms of debate.
The workshop focuses on policy development and parliamentary issues.
gender and representation. I know that it's a big issue in Papua New Guinea. But for us at the Registry of Political Parties, we are working hard with our partners, especially UNDP.
Organizers hope the practice will help the hopeful candidates.
Subjects that are highly relevant for the country and which we felt the women themselves, the female candidates would want to be debating and so on.
Tekla Gunga, National EMTV News.
It goes without saying that the media plays a vital role during the elections. As part of the election preparations, media personnel are undergoing a workshop about the election process and the particulars about their role.
The workshop started last week for the NBC media staff. Today was the start of the workshop for the other media houses. The module that is used for this workshop comes under the Bridge project. Bridge is the acronym for Building Resources in Democracy, Governance and Elections. It was born after Timor-Leste conducted its first democratic elections. The aim is to ensure media personnel understand their role within the election cycle.
Journalists and NBC staff need to be trained because we need to understand the process and then also prepare to say what is correct and what is not correct. And the information that we write or report to can make two differences. One can cause violence. The other can give or educate the people. So it is very, very important that we involve media people because Electoral Commission cannot go and conduct elections without the media.
23 journalists are in attendance at this workshop, which will end on Wednesday. Sarah Aupong, National EMTV News.
Governor General Bob Dadai has congratulated EMTV on a job well done while highlighting the importance of media freedom and balanced news reporting in a democratic society. The Governor-General met with EMTV's Chief Executive Officer Matthew Park today and acknowledged the important role EMTV plays in bringing news and entertainment to the people of PNG, while adding that he would like to see more positive stories in the news. EMTV turns 30 this year and is the oldest and largest TV broadcaster in PNG. Mr. Park spoke of EMTV's responsibility to the nation in ensuring news remains unbiased and apolitical, especially in light of the upcoming PNG elections. Among stories after the break, families hard hit by falling economy, strategic retreat for NASFund staff, and French cruise ship visit ICCC. Welcome back. Papua New Guinea needs quality leaders to save this country from the current economic dilemma, says economist Dr. Ga'ala Peter Kora. He said that while the issue of wreaths for the 2017 national elections is 4 weeks from now, people must be critical and elect good leaders. Dr. Kora will be contesting the Simbu regional seat currently held by Noab Kul. Erika Rupma with this report.
Dr. Kora, an economist by profession, graduated with a PhD in economics at the Australian National University in 2006. He has served in various governmental departments in the country. He was the former Secretary of Department of National Planning and Monitoring in 2011. He also lectured at the University of Papua New Guinea. Currently, he is attached to the National Research Institute.
Experience in academic and experience in public sector is giving me the right perspective as to how this country should move. So I'm seeing it in a different dimension. So I am qualified enough to lead a party into forming next government with other political parties. But I want.
As an economist by profession, he can do his bit to salvage the country from the current economic trend by adopting sound economic policies and strategies. He also added that people need to elect quality and experienced leaders into the parliament.
we have the brains, we have the leadership. We want to concentrate on few that quality candidates can win seats. So now we are talking. Now we are talking about. I want to appeal to the nation that today's politics is all about getting quality leaders to the floor of parliament, because parliament is a noble house on the land. Any country in the world, that the cream of the nation goes into parliament and make decisions, make laws for this country.
Dr. Kora is an intending candidate and party leader of PNG Socialist Party. He will be contesting the Simbu Regional in the coming 2017 national elections. Eric Arupma, National EMTV News.
The husband of a cancer survivor in Leh says more awareness is needed for people to be well informed of the signs and symptoms relating to cancer. Wallace Pingin, a long-time resident in Leh, says when his wife Joy was diagnosed in 2015, they were not aware of the signs and symptoms to know she had cancer. Pingin says they are part of the large majority of people in this country who are yet to be informed so that they can go to the hospital for testing.
Wallace Pingin says his wife Joy was diagnosed in 2015. However, they were told that she was already in the late stages. But Pingin decided to seek medical treatment overseas and raised funds to take his wife to the Philippines for treatment. They had spent over 100,000 kina for his wife to get the medical treatment she needed to be cured.
We stayed there, but when I rang one of my friends back in Leh Angka Hospital, one of my doctors, and said, she's already got operated, so we're going to come back to Papua New Guinea and do the radiotherapy and chemotherapy. And my good doctor, my brother doctor, advised me that don't come to Papua New Guinea because we don't have the facilities here. You have the facilities in the Philippines, so stay on. But then I didn't have the money, you see, to continue. So we spent, literally speaking, we spent about 98,000 kina in terms of the medical expense alone, not excluding our accommodation and and all this.
From his experience, he believes more awareness is needed to educate people on the signs and symptoms of cancer. Pingin is encouraging people to go for testing so that early diagnosis and treatment can be done at an early stage.
If they can go early, all can detect him. Suppose so thing was nothing, stop, that's all. And by go big time and by too late.
Last week, Health Secretary Pasco Kaset told media that the National Health Department is aware of the cancer problems and has plans to solve the problem. For now, there are other treatments available to treat cancer patients in the country. However, most people go to the hospital in later stages, making it impossible for any chance of remission.
We also have information about people coming in attendance at our hospitals at a very late stage. And that's where, whether in Australia or in Japan or Tokyo or wherever, that if you come too late, you cannot be saved. And that's the sad part of it, that we would encourage people to see their doctors as early as possible.
While the Health Department has plans to solve the cancer problem in the country, the PNG Cancer Unit still needs an oncologist, a specialist doctor who can operate the Cobalt machine and prescribe radiotherapy treatment for patients. Mata Luis, National EMTV News, Leh.
NASFund employees put a refreshing twist to the conventional indoor staff workshop experience by taking it to the wild. The superannuation company's staff have been criticized for hiccups in the transition from the old administration system to a new system called PanPro Plus. In a move to rejuvenate their drive in this vital transition, NASFund staff took a strategic hike through the Variarata National Park's challenging tracks.
With the exception of a handful among the enthusiastic bunch, none of them knew what to expect apart from a park caretaker's verbal orientation. NASFund's Chief Member Services Officer Charlie Gilichibi encouraged the staff to see it as the planning stages of the member service transition. With only promises of a beautiful view at the top in mind, they made tracks into the heart of Variarata's forest. About 500 meters into the track, what began as a merry, tight-knitted file of individuals became scattered. Some tired quickly and fell behind. Others became anxious to reach the top, while a minority soldiered the muddy, slippery, and at times jagged terrain.
When we started the first quota, it was good. But as we are coming up the next 5, so it shows that we need more exercise. But this is good.
But through 45 minutes of trudging through mud and braving the slippery slopes, the entire team drew on each other's energy to reach the end.
So this is the view. That's gold at the back of me here. When you look back to Port Moresby town, that's gold. That's the analogy that we'd like to bring back to the office and use to always re-emphasize to our staff about the journey of change.
But Gili Chibi's analogy did not end here. A last final climb to drive home the importance of work-life balance, keeping fit and healthy. Huffing and puffing, they made headway up a shorter, grassier but steeper track to get a better view.
I believe in body, mind and soul. For you to really for you to work and give more productive results to the business, your body, your mind and your soul has to be healthy.
Being able to work like the whole 8 hours sitting down, going back home, just doing the same old thing every day, it really gave us a different perspective to how we're thinking.
But taking today off to visit up here and get the blood pumping, get the heart pumping a little bit, and it's been really good.
Alan Sayers is attached with Aon Hewitt, NASFund's administrator responsible for overseeing the members' services transition. With a database of over 515,000 members, the transfer process has taken longer than anticipated, bringing on minor technical issues and an overall delay in otherwise trivial payment transactions. As a direct result, NASFund staff have been criticized for inaccuracy and incompetency. The walk was a chance for them to recover from the blow of wrongly placed blame and gain a new perspective.
You know, the journey may be very long, but you know, you go through challenges, differences, but at the end, it's very rewarding at the end. It's worth it.
Melissa Gaviro, National EMTV News.
The people of Kopa village on the mouth of the mighty Sepik River have welcomed the French cruise ship L'Austral on its maiden voyage to the region. More than 200 tourists, mainly French and about 40 Australians, used Zodiacs to motor into Kopa, where they were met by enthusiastic villagers, including 3 Sing Sing groups and traditionally dressed elementary school children, singing the PNG national anthem. The L'Austral is part of Ponant Cruises of France, with co-owner Captain Lemaire Jean-Philippe leading the land tours to Kopa village. The villagers were so excited with his visit, they made him an honorary village chief. Ponant Cruises will have 1 cruise ship visiting PNG 6 times a year, starting in 2018. And now looking at our finance news, the Kina closed unchanged at 0.3150 US dollars in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your Kina was buying 0.3075 US dollars, 0.4052 Australian dollars, 0.2858 euro and 35.05 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold, coffee and cocoa closed higher, while copra closed the day lower. Copper closed higher, while palm oil and crude oil closed the day lower. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 44.79 points higher, the ASX is trading at 18.27 points lower, and the All Ordinaries closed at 16.53 points lower. Stories making headlines overseas and the case of sacked Air Niugini pilots. Those stories when we come back. Welcome back to the news. The Supreme Court has adjourned an attempt by a group of former Air Niugini pilots to review a previous court decision concerning their sacking. The pilots were terminated last year after taking part in a political protest against the Prime Minister Peter O'Neill. The pilots have gone to court to challenge a previous court's decision to refuse a review of the legality of their dismissal. Eric Harukma with this report.
The court understood that in July last year, at the height of a political tension before a vote of no confidence in Prime Minister Peter O'Neill, the pilots were sacked by Air Niugini after they were called in sick, following a group of concerned professionals threatened to stop work. The pilots are hoping the court will review a previous court decision not to examine the legality of their sacking. The applicants filed a judicial review on the 9th of December to stay their termination as Air Niugini pilots. However, the application was refused by the National Court. The matter was appealed to the Supreme Court to rescind the previous court decision. However, the court today adjourned the matter, giving time for both counsels to prepare and submit necessary court documents. The matter will return on Wednesday, 22nd March 2017. Eric Arupma, National EMTV News.
Turning overseas, Iraqi forces say they have taken back more than half of Mosul from ISIS. Almost 100,000 civilians have escaped since the battle to retake Mosul began last month. One of the most devastated areas in western Mosul is the museum, where militants have reduced priceless artifacts to rubble.
Ancient treasures that survived the ravages of time fell victim to the folly of man. The remains of statues dating back to the Assyrian Empire, more than 2,500 years old, lie in pieces on the floor of the Mosul Museum. 2 years ago, ISIS militants took sledgehammers and jackhammers to the museum's collection, posting a video of their vandalism on social media. Characterizing the pre-Islamic inhabitants of Mesopotamia as idol worshippers, an unidentified man declares the ancient antiquities must be destroyed, even if they're worth billions of dollars, he says. Iraqi forces battling ISIS in West Mosul recently regained control of the museum.
This is all that remains of one of the museum's lamasu, a winged bull, a symbol of the might of the great Assyrian Empire. Not only did ISIS go to the trouble of breaking apart these statues, but they also chipped away the face. And as you can tell, the battle still rages all around us.
It wasn't all about implementing ISIS's twisted interpretation of Islam. When their cameras weren't rolling, they were looting the museum. Captain Faris of the Iraqi Federal Police explains why there's a gaping hole in the museum floor. This vault, he says, contained artifacts that weren't on display. ISIS took them out and sold them outside of Iraq. All, however, is not lost. 3/4 of the museum's collection was moved to Baghdad before ISIS seized Mosul because this museum was set for renovation. As fate would have it, the final joke was on ISIS. Many of the statues they toppled with such gusto were cheap replicas. They were fakes.
March 14th is Freedom Day. Students at the International School of Geneva in Switzerland aren't just learning about the grim reality of victims of human trafficking. They are mobilizing to fight it. Their social media project is against modern-day slavery.
What does freedom mean to you? For these students in Switzerland, freedom is abundant.
Freedom means being able to pursue what you want without imposing yourselves on the freedom of others.
To be able to feel safe wherever you are in the world.
To me, freedom goes beyond basic human rights.
But in the relative safety of Geneva, they're being exposed to the dark realities of human trafficking. Rasha Hamad, founder of Youth Underground, has created educational programs in schools around the world.
As in all international communities, the kids are still in a bubble, and even us as adults, that we tend to be in a bubble. So it's very difficult to crack that.
An estimated 5.5 million children around the world are victims of human trafficking, with shocking stories that resonate.
My family is from Syria and they go through a lot of bad things over there, and especially women and men. It's so easy for them to be targets.
Where I'm from in Bulgaria, it is insane because you have so many teenagers of my age who are being trafficked into countries like Turkey as well as into Greece.
I knew that a lot of people were being trafficked as young as 1 to 2 years old into the sex trade, but I didn't know that it was such a global thing.
Now students are hoping to catalyze their resources for change.
I think that we should use that privilege to be able to give a voice to those who don't have it.
We're so far away from what happens around the world, and whether it's in continents like Africa, whether it's in parts of Asia, it's scary that for us, where we live, as mentioned, we're in a bubble. We have the means to be able to protect ourselves.
I believe that because of Youth Underground, it gives me a way of being more aware of my surroundings, and it helps me help these people who I know that some of them, and especially the majority of them, are stuck in a poverty trap.
One way to reconnect and connect with others is to initiate an echo on social media. Now there's Snapchat, there's Facebook, there's all sorts of ways that they do that. They create different groups, they travel together, they decide to attend different events and talk about trafficking.
What do you plan to do with the knowledge that you've gotten from the Youth Underground program?
It's always about the human contact and trying to help people, because, I mean, even if it's a cheesy saying, one person, you can just help one person and it does make a difference.
My future is now elevated because of the school and gives me a platform to raise my voice and to be more influential over people.
The Youth Underground program is galvanizing a new generation of activists by using multiple platforms to engage with students where emotions don't just stay in the classroom.
The recent discovery of 7 Earth-like planets has researchers saying we're in the golden age of finding planets that just might support life. The scientists who found this remarkable network named the planets with the love for Belgium and beer.
Nestled in a valley of Belgium's Ardennes mountain range, an almost 900-year-old monastery known as Orval Abbey. Trappist monks have been brewing beer here since the 12th century.
Now, this world-famous Trappist monastic beer has inspired the name of one of the most extraordinary astronomical finds ever.
Trappist is the nickname of a system of 7 Earth-sized planets orbiting a dwarf star just 40 light-years away. They're known as exoplanets because they're outside our solar system. 3 of the planets sit in the habitable zone of the star, and it's possible they could sustain life.
So see how the focus was good.
Exoplanet pioneers Michel Guillon and Emmanuel Jahin discovered the Trappist system, part of a project at the University of Liège in Belgium. From a modest laboratory, they monitor Trappist, robotic telescopes thousands of miles away in Chile and Morocco. Each night, Trappist searches the heavens. Because the telescope feed is online, they can monitor it from anywhere there's internet. Dips in brightness around the stars indicate possible planets. Incredibly, Guillaume says he discovered the first Trappist exoplanet while sitting on his couch at home.
I saw this drop of brightness that I was searching for, I've been searching for 5 years. And I said, oh, wow, it looks really like an Earth-sized planet.
Guillaume had a unique idea, to search ultra-cool dwarf stars smaller than the sun.
I was dreaming of 1 planet. When we saw 2, it was becoming crazy. 3, completely crazy. And then in 2016, 4, 5, wow. Just like a kind of fantasy.
A kind of joking. It's not possible. How many planets are there in there? And then
like a cosmic joke.
What separates this from other exoplanet discoveries, the star is small enough and the planets are close enough for scientists to search for traces of alien life. Back at the Abbey, Brother Xavier says he's extremely proud of the Belgian discovery. As for the question of life on other planets,
if there are possibilities of discovering life in other forms than what we know now, that would mean a lot. The more we have stories that give meaning to human life, that gives an essential meaning to us all.
A philosophical response to a question asked for thousands of years. Now, renewed hope, the answer is out there.
Chukai Sports is up next. Stay with us for the details.
True Kai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. Relly Caputin lived up to her growing reputation as a big meat performer with another outstanding championship performance in Birmingham, Alabama, USA over the weekend. The 23-year-old won the triple jump with yet another PNG national record of 13.09 meters.
Look at that, a fantastic...
Relly Caputin also came second in the long jump and placed sixth in a tightly contested high jump competition. The East New Britain lass won gold medals at the 2015 Pacific Games, all with record-breaking performances, and scored 14 points for her team by placing in 3 events at the 2016 Outdoor Championships. Caputin triple jumped her third effort of 13.09 meters to put her beyond the reach of her rivals, and the real competition was for second place, which was won by her teammate Malika Odrago with 12.70 meters. In the end, only one athlete cleared 1.76 meters, and Caputin was one of 5 athletes to clear 1.73 meters, finishing 6th as a result of having needed 3 attempts to clear that height. Meanwhile, Furiada continued her recent good form, clocking a personal best time of 24.40 seconds in the 200 meters. Edrin Mandagi finished just outside the medals in the pentathlon, despite a huge effort in the last event, where she clocked an impressive 2 minutes 25 seconds for the 800 meters. Peniel Richard was unable to reproduce his recent good form in the triple jump, and after registering 14.57 meters in his first jump, 2 fouls left him outside of the top 9 who proceeded to the final. Shane Soroya, National EMTV Sports.
Following the Hunters' 30-20 win over the East Tigers yesterday at the National Football Stadium, both team captains still believe their teams would have done a little better. Tigers captain Jake Foster says he knows how hard it is to play against the Hunters, and it is always difficult. Hunters captain Aze Boas says the match yesterday was quite tough for his side. The Lace Next Tigers Academy program for 2017 started today with 40 players going through tests and training. The program will run in line with the Senior Tigers program and focus on the next batch of players in the years to come. The 40 players have been selected from schools in Lae. Some are from programs already in place with the Lae Schoolboys and the PNG RFL Junior Development Program. Trukai Sports continues after the break. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. The inaugural Justin Tachenko Super 9s Cup went through its finals yesterday afternoon at the Sir William Skate Memorial Oval. A jam-packed crowd turned up and witnessed the Rovanamas A game when they defeated the Mahuru Eagles 24-18. Despite aggressive play from the Eagles, Ravanama maintained clean plays and impressive scoring abilities.
After 2 days of battling their way through, Ravanama secured 30 points as of Saturday afternoon, setting them on top of the ladder. Following Ravanama were 15 other teams that made a cut after the day's elimination rounds. The semis and the grand final yesterday saw the Tarama Cobras collapse as the Rovers trashed them 22 points to 8. With that easy win under the belts but still waiting for a worthy opponent to face, the Mahuru Eagles and Aroma Coast took the field. The Aroma guys scored 2 unconverted tries. In response, the Eagles scored 3 tries, 2 of which were runaways. All 3 went unconverted as well. By the time the Mahuru Eagles faced the Rovanamas, the crowd was on its toes. The Rovers showed dominance early on with 2 tries that set them at 8 points lead to Mahuru Eagles 0. Minutes later, another try occurred in the Eagles' try line and it was successfully converted, and that gave the Rovanamas a 14 points lead. In the second half, 2 late responsive attacks from the Eagles saw them lurking behind with 8 points. Though the Rovers refused to go home without the grand prize, this time landing a try right under the goalpost that brought the score to 18. In the dying minutes of the game, another converted try from the Rovers on 24 points, and that's when the defense went up. But the Eagles fought and managed to trim down the margin with 2 more tries. Unfortunately, they missed conversions and the score was at 24-18 in favor of the Rovanamas by full time. Rovanamas walked away with the cup and 20,000 kina cash prize at the end of the day. The first runner-ups Mahuru Eagles did not go away empty-handed as they also got a 10,000 kina cash prize. Dinrose Raiko, National EMTV Sports.
To NRL and round 2 of the Telstra Premiership competition saw many upsets over the weekend. The most intense match was between Queensland rivals North Queensland Cowboys and the Brisbane Broncos.
The first match of round 2 was between the Bulldogs and Roosters on Thursday night. Roosters star winger Daniel Tupou scored 2 tries in their 28-24 win over the Bulldogs.
And then the final try, well, a pinpoint kick from Luke Keary, and Daniel Tupou gets his second, climbing over the top of Brinker.
Friday night football was a classic Queensland battle between the Cowboys and the Broncos at Suncorp Stadium. Jonathan Thurston again leading his team to victory with a drop goal in extra time to secure their 21-20 win, breaking the hearts of Broncos fans. The Knights' NRL campaign seemed to be going good so far after beating the Titans 34 points to 26. The Rabbitohs, though without captain Greg Inglis, managed to make up for the embarrassing loss last week to the Tigers after a comfortable 38-18 win over the Sea Eagles. On Saturday night, the Raiders got badly hammered by reigning premiers, the Cronulla Sharks, going down 42 points to 10. The West Tigers were embarrassed 36 points to 2 by the Panthers.
The first game of Dime's over! He shortened up Tedesco a couple of minutes ago and he's put his name on the scoreboard.
And the Eels beat the Dragons 34-16 at Wynn Stadium. Elijah Labette, National EMTV Sports.
The local PNG skilled craftsmen have brought up their artistic work on the PNG Komol World Longboard Championships to be held in Bogia District, Medang this weekend. The local artists have created unique wooden curved trophies, walking sticks and the assorted balls from various sizes and shapes offered to SAPNG at reasonable prices to support the championships. Surfing Association PNG President Andrew Abel says the association is proud of the local carvers getting the step forward with their affordable carvings. These trophies will be presented to the participants and winners at the inaugural PNG Komol's World Longboard Championships to be held in Tupira, Medang from 18th to 25th March. And that's a wrap for Trukai Sports. The weather details up next.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
Looking at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours, in the southern region, fine with afternoon showers and thunderstorms developing in Port Moresby, thundery rain showers in Daru, rain periods with thunderstorms in Kerema, and mostly fine with a chance of few afternoon showers in Alotau and Popondetta. In the Momase region, thundery rain showers in Ley and Medang, and showers in Wewak and Vanimo. In the New Guinea Islands region, showers and possible thunderstorms in all centres. And in the Highlands region, rain periods with possible thunderstorms in all centres. Forecast for small ships for the next 24 hours. All coastal waters of Papua New Guinea, seas of 0.5 to 1.5 meters. Ocean forecast for PNG areas. In the Coral Sea, seas light with clockwise winds at 10 to 15 knots. In the Solomon Sea, sees slight with northeast to southeast winds at 10 to 15 knots. In the Bismarck Sea, sees slight with northwest to west winds at 10 to 20 knots. And in the Pacific Ocean, sees slight with northeast winds at 10 to 15 knots.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
Before we go, the decline in the country's economy has influenced the increasing number of family breakdown in the country. Coordinator for Social Welfare in Ley, Emily Bosky, told EMTV News today that the office attends to more than 60 new complaints weekly, with the economy being the main cause. This social issue is affecting many young people.
The Provincial Welfare Office in Morobe attends to more than 15 complaints daily and 60 weekly regarding child welfare. In the past years, women visited the office often, but today, men are also seeking assistance from the office under the Lookout in Pikinini Act. Provincial Coordinator for Social Welfare, Emily Bosky, said most of the complaints she receives from the clients are caused due to economic problems that arise within the family.
I think I don't really blame the people for having faced with this situation. I think that the economy is not fair on us.
Families are being deserted by men or women due to economic struggle and hardship. The innocent children then become the main victims affected by the economic stress of both mother and father. The General Manager for City Mission in Ley, Pastor Bob Apperson, said children should be brought up in a safer environment with love and care rather than distress and discomfort.
The children watch it, they see it. They can very easily develop an attitude as they grow up that this is normal, and thus the only thing they've ever known, so that when they then become that husband or that wife and maybe start experiencing it as a woman or as a husband, as a man, become a violator, think that this is normal, and they need to learn that, no, this is not normal.
The problem of abuse, violence and child protection is an ongoing issue that organizations and government departments are trying to find solutions to minimize the problem. Ms. Bosky said women should now look for ways to minimize the economic problems and save marriages by setting up small markets to sustain the family. She said the Lookout in Pikinini Act has also helped a lot of children who are affected with family breakdowns.
Let the people know that there's an act that will it's a rights-based act, so you can help parents to see that their children have rights to the basic needs that they need to survive.
Julie Badui Owa, National EMTV News, Ley.
Now recapping our main stories for tonight. ICCC keeping close eye on Telikom Merge, intending women candidates debates gun control bill, and media to play crucial role in polls. And that's the way it is in the news, sports and weather for Monday, March 13th, 2017. On behalf of the entire EMTV News team, have a pleasant working week. Good night.